That the amendment be agreed to. I give the call to the member for Bendigo.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I rise to speak in favour of the amendments that have been moved by the member for Maitland. And in the beginning of my contribution, Deputy Speaker, I just wanted to touch on briefly, a comment that we hear from parliamentarians, including the PM, quite often. We want to be a country that makes things. It's a catchphrase that's just thrown out there. Now, granted, I will say that it is a 7-word slogan, so it is a step up from a 3-word slogan. We want to be a country that makes things, so we're up to 7 words. But, Deputy Speaker, as a government, as a country, we need to be doing more than just more slogans when it comes to manufacturing. When it comes to ensuring that we have strong manufacturing, that we are in fact a country that makes things. And there are 3 things that I believe that, as a country, that we should do to support our manufacturers, to support those businesses and the people that they employ in those businesses. Yes, we've got an anti-dumping bill before us, and that is one thing that government can do. A very simple thing that government can do is buy the things we make. And what I'd like to see from this government is government procurement policies that are being put forward where the government takes a proactive step to buy the things that we make. If we want to be a country that makes things, then let's show leadership and buy the things we make. And I speak specifically about everything from defence manufacturing to the toilet paper that we have here at Parliament House. There is such a wide variety of things that we manufacture in this country, and we need to show leadership in our domestic market by buying the things we make. I've just returned from a political exchange delegation to Japan, where I had the great honour of being able to talk to the Vice Minister of Defence about the fantastic Bushmaster, which is manufactured in Bendigo. And it helped me to be able to talk to the Japanese government about why they should buy Australian Bushmasters, because we ourselves, as a government and a country, had purchased 1,000 Bushmasters, which demonstrates how good we are, how good this vehicle is. I, of course, didn't know how many toilet papers we had bought, but if I did, Deputy Speaker, I would have been able to speak about that. So one of the things that we can do to support manufacturing is to buy the things we make. Another thing that I believe that government should start looking at, apart from anti-dumping, is, of course, in terms of government procurement, is when we contract out, when we put out for tender big chunks of money for capital works projects. The Prime Minister has said he wants to be the Prime Minister for infrastructure. Well, that's a lot of dollars on the table for construction. There is a lot of materials and labour that is required. So let's see some leadership and have local content in those contracts. Talk to the states, talk to local government about how they can help secure local manufacturing jobs by putting local content in government procurement documents. This is another way in which this government can help support local manufacturing businesses and local manufacturing jobs. The third way, which I believe that government can do more to help local manufacturers and the people that they employ, is, of course, a strong anti-dumping regime. Making sure that we have a robust system so that our manufacturers and the people that they employ are competing on an equal playing field. And this is what the anti-dumping legislation, what these bills should be focused on. Dumping occurs when goods exported into Australia are priced lower than their normal value, which is usually the comparable price in the ordinary course of trade in the exporter's domestic market. Where the price in the ordinary course of trade is unsuitable, the normal value may also be determined by using comparable prices from exports to a third country, or the cost of production plus selling the general administrative expenses and profit. There is already established terms about what dumping is, and some of the previous speakers have spoken about those. What other previous speakers have also mentioned is that dumping is not a prohibited practice under the WTO agreements, but what the WTO agreements do say is that countries that believe that they are subject to anti-dumping are able to introduce bills like this bill to introduce schemes like the former Labor government did to ensure that there is an equal playing field. The current Australian anti-dumping legislation is based upon the WTO agreement on the implementation of Article 5 of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trades 1994 and the WTO agreement on the subsidies and measures. Where this WTO agreement seeks to do is to bring together nations to say, particularly nations that are quite similar to our own, nations that have quite similar costs. For example, nations like Canada, like the US, like the like the EU. It allows those countries, and I guess in the case of the ETU, establish a system to ensure that cheaper product from overseas companies and cheaper countries are not being dumped unfairly on markets. Deputy Speaker, the reason why I believe that this is such an urgent matter is because we need to make sure that we are not sitting idly by and watching otherwise competitive, profitable local industries with sustainable jobs to our local communities succumb to rampant trade malpractice employed by other nations and other companies in those nations. The consequences of inaction to adequately addressing dumping will result in the loss of not only those businesses but those workers, their families and their communities, who are too often subject to loss of employment in their areas. What we've seen so far is a lot of people speaking who are from the outer suburbs and who are from regional areas. Those who are from the outer suburbs and regional areas know the impact that cheap product dumped on a domestic market can have on jobs in their local area. And my electorate, Deputy Speaker, is no different. We have quite a large pine plantation in my electorate in Wood End. Some of that has started to be harvested just recently, and through the stages over the next 5 years will continue to be harvested. And one of the concerns that those local workers and that particular industry is concerned about is the cheap imports that are being bought in and dumped on the market, and what that will do to their value price, but also then the pressure it puts on that company to whether they will actually process that timber into the wood that we need for our frames. To just give a scale of the difference between the product that is sometimes being dumped on our market and to what we're able to produce locally, we're not just talking about wages cost here, we're talking about some product that is so cheap that it is, even in their country of origin, whether it be China, whether it be parts of America, is less than the cost of production in their original country. So, it makes it very hard for our domestic manufacturers to be able to compete with product that is so cheap that it's at a loss being produced in their country of origin. So let's not even think that it's just about the fact that we've got high wages in this country or that we have the high Australian dollar that we're trying to compete with. This is also about a coordinated effort by some companies and countries overseas to basically dump cheap product on our market. The sustainability of Australian manufacturing is under threat because of this cheap product being dumped, and it is a vital step for government to adopt a strict rule of law approach to illegal practices that's consistent with our World Trade Organisation entitlements. It is important for us to defend our local industries, and it is in the national interests. Local industry is worth defending. Australian manufacturing employs 5 times as many people as our mines and mining, 5 times as many. When you include agriculture, which is another area where product is quite often dumped on our market, it's 7 times more people employed in agriculture and manufacturing than what we actually have employed in our mines. So we are talking about a significant chunk of Australian workers that's jobs are at risk if we don't get the anti-dumping scheme right. One of the arguments that has been put forward that you know, it's okay to have this cheap product come onto the market because it will be a better deal from consumers. This is just simply an illusion, because once the short-term prices basically remove the local jobs in the local industry, prices will increase as local competition has been killed off. So it's a deliberate strategy to dump cheap product. Once the local competitors are gone, that product price will increase. And that's just the way the market works. And that is why it's so important that we follow the lead that other countries around the world have done when it comes to anti-dumping, to make sure that their local industry, their local jobs are protected. I do want to acknowledge the work that some of the industry leaders have played in this debate, who've been very vocal on this area for quite some time. I know that many in the government like to criticise the role of unions, particularly the AMWU, the AWU and the CFMEU, but together they have formed a joint initiative, a round table, to put on the record, to talk about, in partnership with their employers and their industries, about the need for very strong anti-dumping legislation, rules, to make sure that we are doing our bit to protect their jobs. In many ways, this joint roundtable is doing the work of government. They are putting it out there about why Australia should be exercising its rights under the WTO and standing up and protecting our manufacturing. The roundtable is in response to an urgent concern by members working in these industries that their local jobs, their local products are being undercut by cheap imports. There are two ways, Deputy Speaker, that other countries and companies are undermining our locally produced products. One is, of course, the cheaper product coming in, but the other thing that other companies are doing is, of course, they have a number of subsidies in their own company, which also in many ways support what is going on. And I guess it's a note for the people who are drafting the text of the free trade agreements, perhaps that they would consider, when it comes to steel, when it comes to forestry, when it comes to another of the other industries raised, that perhaps there should be some discussion about the subsidies that some countries have for the steel industry, for the forestry industry, to prop up these manufacturers that then go on to dump cheap product on our markets. Deputy Speaker, this bill is complex and it involves a number of technical changes. There are two parts outlined in this bill that are controversial, and that's why I'm speaking today to the amendments. The first is the abolition of the International Trade Remedies Forum, or the Forum. This was initiated to keep the conversation going. The Forum is a stakeholder body that is comprised of representatives from manufacturers, producers, importers, as well as industry associations, trade unions and government agencies. Perhaps it's because it involves trade unions, that's why this government wants to abolish this forum. As I've demonstrated, our trade unions have taken a leading role to stand up and say we need to do more as a country. We want to see our government do more to protect and support local manufacturing, create that equal playing field. The forum provides advice and feedback to the government on the operation of the anti-dumping scheme, the implementation and monitoring of the government's reforms to anti-dumping, and other information which may lead to further improvements in an anti-dumping system. Because we are dealing with overseas companies, because we are dealing with an overseas and international market, it's important to have a body or a forum like this continually to be reviewing about whether our rules in place are doing enough. Now, all the speakers on this list that I can see have local examples that they'll be getting up and speaking about. What's really important is we keep the conversation going about how we can continue to ensure that we have the best anti-dumping regime in our country so we can support local manufacturing jobs. It's so important that if we want to be a country that makes things, that we not only buy the things we make, We not only ensure that we, as taxpayers, get the best value for our dollar about securing local content, but we also have the strongest anti-dumping scheme possible to create that fair playing field. It's important not just for the manufacturers and the companies, but for the people that work. 5 times as many manufacturers, people working in manufacturing than our mines, and almost 7 times as many people working in agriculture
Order.
and manufacturing.
I thank the member. Her time has expired.